England will have to be a little careful about their bowling because I don't see how Mark Wood will also be able to play all 9 games.
Very, very, very scared. They are definitely the team to beat, according to me.
They're always good on paper, but there are things that they will want to go their way.
We'll start with England because look, it was blessing in disguise that they didn't have to bowl in that sweltering heat in Guwahati. We're shooting this at the time, of course, that India-England will probably be a washout. But what else is making news from the English camp? Now, we understand that Joss Butler had a lot on shoulders to make a pivotal call, which was Jason Roy and his omission. And of course, in came in Harry Brook, and people can't blame that particular choice. It just goes to show how much the depth is in English cricket. We'll talk to you about the squads and the fixtures and all of that. And wow, it's just like hit me hard in my swanky headset. That sneeze. By the way, keep your comments coming through as well. I'll start with Akshay here, and then we'll go on to Nikhil's SWOT analysis and his best 11 and everything. England, I mean, how scared should the rest of the world be when we take a look at them?
Very, very, very scared. They are definitely the team to beat, according to me. Especially their batting, man. Oof, wow. You just look at that lineup and batter after batter, they just keep coming at you. And don't forget, their bowling is no mug either. Their pacers, Gus Atkinson is definitely one to look out for. Someone I'm actually keeping a keen eye on because I haven't seen him. I wasn't able to follow the England-New Zealand series just as keenly as I would have liked to. So very, very, very compact lineup. They've pretty much got options for everything, be it spin bowling, be it all-round options, be it pacers, be it death bowling, be it new ball bowling. They've got it all covered. So yeah, definitely the team to beat.
Absolutely. Nikhil, quickly, what is the chink in their armor? Where can teams target them?
The bowling, and the all-rounders. They are always good on paper, but there are things that they will want to go their way. They'll probably outbat oppositions. That is probably going to be their plan. So I think bowling is where I hope teams will look to target them.
Okay. Short, sweet answer there. I was just peering to the screen because Netherlands, Australia has kicked off. You guys tuning in, you maybe have to like put your laptop and of course watch the script as well. Good cricket.
Yeah.
And I want to, of course, just talk to you about the fixtures because there's some absolutely lip-smacking fixtures, one of which is India at Lucknow. And that's, I don't know how you see it, but talk to me about the rest of it. I know they play the opening game in Ahmedabad, but if you're an English fan, you're looking at Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and South Africa, you can get points there.
Yeah, I mean, even in Lucknow, we may not be entirely sure if that turns out to be a pitch that grips. And even if it does, it's not that you can say that England will definitely lose that game because England then have three spin bowling options in Rashid, Moeen Ali, and Livingston, and a lot of these English players have the experience of playing on Indian grounds. And when we talk about batting, we talk a lot about Stokes, Bairstow, Harry Brook, and everyone else. But David Milan's going to hold the key on such pitches, and he's done that, and he's done that across conditions. And one of the reasons why I brought it up is, and people can say this is a shameless plug, but I really want people to read the article done by Gaurav on David Milan, which is there on our website, on how he's been the most consistent batter but keeps going under the radar because you could say he's not as flamboyant, but he's key. And one other player that I missed out when I was talking about spin bowling options is Joe Root, and he can be as handy as any part-timer that there is. So there are, like Nikhil said, there are issues with the bowling and they can be hit hard there, which is something that I felt in the last World T20 too. A lot of times we are obsessed with the batting depth that England have and the bowling variety that England have in terms of options, but not always can those options and that variety can translate into quality. And I had those fears in the last World T20, but T20 is a much shorter format to cover up those shortcomings. May not exactly happen in ODIs that way. So England will have to be a little careful about their bowling because I don't see how Mark Wood will also be able to play all 9 games and going into the semis, because I do think they will reach the last four, but they will have to be very careful on how they rotate their pacers.
It's interesting because England, for the longest time, and all the ODI kids would know of the 90s, were never really a threatening team in the grander showpiece. It was only that 2019 World Cup which really kind of took them off and skyrocketed, and many people think about it. Kirat, you weren't shameless at all about that plug-in, by the way. And I think it reminds me to just plug in that particular David Milan article. It's available on the cricket.com website, as you can see here. The Mr. Consistent in a Team of Freaks is the headline for this one. And like this article, there are plenty more available things on the cricket.com website. It's absolutely fantastic. Go check it out. Fantastic graphs, bar charts, whatever you want. We have it right here, right now. Getting back to this chat, the Knicks, and I really want to draw your attention to your SWOT analysis. But before that, your best 11. Talk to me about it.
Yep. So sorry, Roy, had to miss that cut. From not my end though. Malan Bairstow open route 3. Stokes, debatable how many want him back, but he's here and he's playing at 4 and 5. Probably one of the very good top fives. There is form concern with Root. And then you have two all-rounders who are adept at adapting to surfaces, at least on paper, in Livingston and Moeen Ali. And then you have again two all-rounders in Sam Curran and Chris Wokes, bowling all-rounders. They'll probably want a bit more help from the wicket, whether it is gripping or the first 10 overs. So that is, you have 5 good batters, 4 legit all-rounders, and even Adil Rashid can hold the bat, which will obviously hear 100 times in the tournament. And you have Mark Wood, who's also entertaining with the bat. So there is batting depth all the way down, but there are form and slightly injury concerns there, as Paji rightly picked out. Wood will have to be rotated, and he'll be rotated with Topley, who isn't always your best guy when it comes to relying for injuries. And again, not going to the RCB bias about Topley, but we've been there before.
We have been there before. Let me talk to be the RCB lad then, because a couple of things come to mind when you talk about England, right? Joe Root stands out for you, even though he's been a fantastic Test pro. His ODI numbers as well, absolutely brilliant. And in a place like India, Akshay, how much can Root be that glue, that backbone for England? Because he knows the conditions, and even this whole little Rajasthan Royals small little cameo might have helped him. You never know.
Yeah, definitely. And he's their most experienced batter, even both in terms of the ODIs and also in terms of playing in Asia, playing in the Indian subcontinent, and playing spin as well again. So pretty much the most experienced player in the England batting lineup period. So that he'll definitely be the glue, like you said. Also, on top of that, the bowling value that he'll offer, like both of them mentioned before, will be very, very, very crucial, especially on surfaces like Delhi. They would want to sort of get a few overs off route, maybe over the likes of say Vokes or someone in the middle overs, especially. So yeah, Pranav Anand, agree with you. यार 5 wicket haul अगर नहीं तो कम से कम 2-3 wicket तो ले ही सकता है. You never know against against oppositions that aren't adept playing spin. You never know.
Okay, Kirat, I'll just come to you right now before we show Akshay's, beg your pardon, Nikhil's SWOT analysis. Muck Wood and Adil Rashid, in case, God forbid, they have an injury at the starting of the campaign, how big a blow will it be for them?
I think they can still get over Mark Wood's injury because he's not going to play all games, and for wickets in the power play, they'll rely on Vokes. If there is some swing available, they could even give Sam Curran the ball, and then at the death, I don't think England have a reliable option who can bowl those 4-5 overs without conceding much. But if they don't get wickets in the middle overs from Adil Rashid, then that is a bigger problem. If Mark Wood goes out, they could even fly in Luke Wood as a replacement, who I rate decently. I feel he has a very good Yorker and bowls at pace. I felt that he could have made the squad last year for the World T20 as well. But with Mark Wood, they can still do without. But I don't know how will they manage without Adil Rashid, because wickets in the middle overs are key in this format. And another team that we'll talk about today are struggling from a similar issue. So Adil Rashid is a bigger miss if he gets injured, I feel.
Okay, next, on to your SWOT analysis, but a quick one from me to you. You think about England and how many ODIs they played heading into this World Cup. I think it's just 9 in the last 13 months or something. And I know that meaningful preparation came against New Zealand. But does that really matter for someone like them who obviously go into this tournament as favorites, defending champions, and all of that tags? All of those tags, beg your pardon?
No, it does definitely, and it is something that we discussed in one of the previous discussions that getting ODI ready is different. A lot of these sides, a lot of these squads have played a lot of T20s, so it's easier for them to switch to that format without much of a preparation. But that's not going to be the case in ODIs. Today itself, at the start of the video, you discussed about them having to bowl in that heat, and that would have really sapped and tested their I don't know, jet lag, if you can call it that, after that long travel. But it is something that we've discussed in the past. Teams will be wary of. You'll not want to have your bowler swelter and break a lot of sweat in those conditions, because you have to remember there is that injury concern with Wood, that you don't want to lose him to conditions. So it will be important, and what's also important is for them to get game time together. Something that every team is trying to struggle with or trying to fit in with. That let's get the guys playing together. Australia did not play their best bowling attack. New Zealand yesterday played with Kane for the first time. Of course, he was injured. And then today also in the Australia game, you see Carey and Inglis and Smith batting in top three. Again, conditions are different, but they also want them to get used to playing together. So I don't think the switch will be easy. So it will probably take a few games, and maybe the rained out warm ups could play into some other teams' hands if they played enough games coming into these fixtures.
And remember, England were one of those teams I don't think were slated to play 2 warm-up games because they've just wanted to play India, and now they're playing the tournament opener. So let's see how that goes. And you mentioned it there, Nikhil. 38 hours that it took them to get to India with all those kind of plane routes that they had to take, and then found themselves in Guwahati, and now they go to Ahmedabad from there. Right, talk to me about the sports, about England, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, as you can see, guys. And if you guys are joining us, please do give this video a like, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Nikhil, take it away. They're just 2 strengths and more weaknesses and threats. Is that England? Are we looking at a different graphic?
No, it's fair, because I think a lot of this is at times interchangeable, or you could play to their strengths or play to their weaknesses as well. But best run rate among all teams, again, not surprising that the two strengths are from their batting, and the weakness is also covering a lot of the bowling views. So best run rate among all teams, not a doubt there, 6.2. Best run rate against spin. This is something that I'm very interested to see. How long can they keep up with? Because they are a side that wants to keep playing shots. So good luck doing that if pitches change nature. Then weakness is something that you don't think will happen with them, but their opening woos have been a bit more. The first 10 overs, third lowest balls per wicket, 34. Next only to Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So that's not a great number to have. And the surprising bit comes here. A run rate of over just 7.7 against pace in the last 10. Now, that is not something that you associate with England. So you see, and again, you have to put that caveat that this data is from 2021, and you haven't seen them play a lot of ODIs. So this data may look skewed in one favor over the other. So that is something to keep in mind. But this issue still exists because they are still played by the same unit, if not entirely the same, but similar individuals have taken part in those matches. So if you go back to that graphic, in the weakness, the third and the fourth point, most expensive spin unit along with Netherlands. That is something that I'm sure Paji will take up for another side that he loves a lot. And second most expensive bowling unit at the death. Now, this is something that I think, as I said just a while back, could be where you can catch them out. That Moeen Ali, Livingston, Adil Rashid, yes, they can take wickets, but they could also go for a lot of runs. And if you see their records very this year, it's not too many. Like Rashid is taken what, in 7 games he's taken 15 wickets, which is good, but he's not going at a rate that is controlled. 6.1 is not a good rate to go at. Maybe again depending on conditions and how you want to look at it. And same is the case with Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali has taken 6 wickets in 7 games this year. Again, his strike ignore rate is 5.7. So they are getting wickets, but they're not almost containing runs at all. So if conditions remain batter friendly, they will have to outbat opposition, because the bowling at this point of time will need help from the top power play, that you try and break the game open. You take 3-4 wickets in the first 10 overs, and then maybe you'll be able to control the flow of the game from there. But if Sam Curran and Chris Wokes don't strike early, then Markwood, Ali Rashid will be put under pressure, because there are things that teams will probably line up better in terms of, okay, let's go after this bowling, let's go after that kind of bowling on different kind of venues.
Yeah, they can pick and choose. We'll come back to that graphic in terms of the opportunities and threats. But Gurkirat, my question to you is, you look at the weaknesses he pointed out there, and some might be looking at it and be like, yeah, the caveat is since 2021, and England haven't played that much of ODI cricket, or at least the numbers could be skewed. But is that a legitimate cause for concern with those numbers?
See, even if you put aside those numbers, given, if you take the case that it's from 2021, but if you look at the resources and players at hand, you'll know that, you know, there's a reason for these numbers. Second most expensive bowling unit at the death. You can understand why that is there, because Chris Wokes struggles bowling at the death. Mark Wood, and that's true for all, pacers who bowl, who are expressed, that on their day they could rarely take apart sides, but if their radar is off, then they also leak a lot of runs. Similarly for Sam Curran, that he was doing well at the death in T20s, but we saw this year, even in the IPL, he was taken for a lot of runs, and when he was not getting swing in the power play, he was going for runs as well. I don't think Sam Curran picked a single wicket in the power play in this year's IPL. So you look at those bowlers, you can understand why those numbers are like that. And another big issue for England is going to be that I'm not sure how much can they rely on Stokes' bowling, because probably he may not
He
bowl
will not
because he
bowl.
has that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
But
what I'm
guys,
saying.
it's a World Cup. Don't you think Stokes will bowl? He's that kind of player, right? Or not really?
We really don't know, because given how he in one of the Ashes tests, he pretty much overbowled himself and was bowling on one knee, and I don't think he's bowled enough in these, or bowled at all in that New Zealand ODI. So a lot is going to come down on the shoulders of Adil Rashid and Mark Wood. I think, a venue like Ahmedabad is, or a Dharamshala is best suited for England, because it will have that early swing, which someone like Chris Wokes can really take advantage of to the very last bit. And then once that pitch flattens out, it becomes a batting paradise. And then on those pitches, England batters can really go for it. So their issues, I think, will come on pitches which are slightly slower, or on pitches where there isn't enough help in the first 10 overs. So when they probably play at Delhi, Lucknow, where the ball wasn't really swinging a lot, they could, get into some kind of trouble. But other venues, I feel they can still get by. And yes, I can't stress this enough, but they will have to hope that Moeen Ali, Livingston, and Root are able to chip in something with the ball in the middle overs, and maybe get a wicket or two, because otherwise, uh, in the last 10-15 overs, this bowling attack can travel.
They can travel, and I think very good point that you mentioned there. But they have so many resources, Akshay. It's insane. We go back to Akshay's, beg your pardon, Nikhil's Levitt, and I want to know if you disagree with any sort of position here, or do you think, look, this is a well, solid, rounded 11?
On paper, yeah, it is as well rounded as it can be, and yeah, I do agree with both Nikhil Bhai and Gurkirat on, how, yeah, they do look like a very solid unit, and but yeah, you never know, because all of these names, in theory, they should work, but you never know. Livingston, Ali, Root,
I
how
mean,
much of
Akshay, sorry to disturb you and interrupt you, but look at that 11. Essentially, everyone can bat. We've seen Mark Butt tonk it in the Ashes as well, and 9 bowling options apart from Milan. I mean, 8 essentially. Butler's not going to bowl. Butler, Bairstow, and Milan. Everyone else bowls. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's not what you need in ODI cricket, right? I mean, that's not the only thing you need in ODI cricket, right? Like when it comes to spin, one reason that one factor that I feel could play a very important role is their defensive bowling, or rather their ability to bowl defensively. Because all these spinners in the middle overs, there will be a time and the phase when all you need to do is just hold and end up. And barring Root, I don't know if the other three, including Adil Rashid, have it in them to bowl defensively. All of them are bowlers who can go for wickets and runs at the same time. So, which is where it becomes even more crucial that they understand what they're expected to do. And having not followed the New Zealand series keenly, I actually want to know from Nikhil Bhai if he did. Like, was Adil Rashid also used at the death, or was he used entirely in the middle overs?
No, I don't think you saw a lot of that. And I think again, it is it is a series that they wanted to try a lot of different people.
Yeah,
So most of the times you had Potts and Scrimshaw and
true,
those
true, true.
during those things. So yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
then that's another factor, right? Because if Adil Rashid is going to ply his trade mainly in the middle overs, then it becomes even more important that he understands what lengths to bowl defensively. Of course, he is an excellent wicket taker. 15 wickets in 7 games, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned, is decent enough. If you're averaging more than 2 wickets a game, I'm happy with that. So let's see how they're able to do when it comes to defensive bowling. I'm really keen to see how they go about it in the World Cup.
I mean, I'm fascinated to know all your predictions and MVPs, but before that, we'll of course go back to that opportunities and threats bit. And you guys have mentioned it throughout subtly as well. The fixtures are definitely going to take a toll. So if you guys are just joining us, these are the fixtures for England. And as you can see, a lot of traveling involved. Ahmedabad, then Dharamshala, then Delhi, then they go to Mumbai to play South Africa, then they go south to Bangalore, then they go back north to Lucknow, and then they finish, of course, as you can see, against Pakistan in Kolkata, and that too promises to be one hell of a game. Right, next, take me back to those opportunities and threats then. And opportunities, again, it focuses, I'm guessing, on what we've been reiterating: spin and travel.
Yes, and just to answer also, it just adds to this bit about those spinners are expensive. They have third best bowling average. That's also because you see the New Zealand series, they had Livingstone bowling at the end. So sometimes you feel with England that they are a side that really proper Jaimatari is what they believe in, and which is fair. The opportunities there, I feel they have quite a few games which I feel they should do very well, and only two games in tough venues: Lucknow versus India, Delhi versus Afghanistan. But again, here the India game might be tricky, but I feel versus Afghanistan they should definitely outbat Afghanistan, if not outbowl them. So that is something that should not be a problem for them. But yes, too risky approach to batting is something that we've discussed. Injury prone like Mark Wood and Reece Topley, that is something that we've known in the past. No white ball games in India is fine, and no frontline pacer has played more than 5 ODIs in India, and all of them have gone at an economy of 6. So all of this is what we've talked in the past about the weakness. I feel they still have 6 games that they should do well, and that is New Zealand in Ahmedabad, Bangladesh in Dharamshala, Afghanistan in Delhi. With the again the point being batting them out, they should do better versus Sri Lanka again in Bangalore. They should take care of Netherlands in Pune, and I expect them to do better than Pakistan in Kolkata. So there is where I feel they have 6 games out of which they should need at least 5, and I think that should leave them in a very good space to take care of the South Africa game in Wankhede, India game Lucknow, Australia game Ahmedabad. So I feel in fixtures wise too, they're probably better placed to make the most of Ahmedabad, Dharamshala, Pune, and even Bangalore. To be honest, because you see the kind of sometimes it's a bit sticky, so you have the all rounders who can come in and then get the ball to do the job. So maybe the venues helps them, but I'm expecting the tougher games to give them a real picture of what to expect in the knockouts.
Okay.
Just one thing though, the Dharamshala game against Bangladesh. If Bangladesh actually bowl first, it'll be very interesting to see because
Yes.
Bangladesh have a very good pace attack. We discussed this yesterday, and if
Yeah.
they're able to trouble the England batters, I feel Bangladesh has enough batting potential to be able to, face or handle England bowlers once the surface flattens out. So
Yes.
that,
I think the key aspect there is once the surface flattens out,
yeah,
because if it doesn't, that is tailor made for England. So I think in the entire setups of the SWAT, I feel their batting has to carry the bowling, to put it
yeah.
that way. If they are able to bat well, their bowling will be able to defend the par score or the above par score that they get. But if the batting doesn't do well and they are probably under par, then I think the bowling will have to step up a lot more, and the onus will lie on Livingston, Moeen Ali, and Sam Curran, who at times not somebody that you feel they're always consistent. So the variance, the high variance, the volatility there will have to reduce. And as Paddy said, the usage of Sam Curran or Chris Wokes or Moeen Ali Livingston, it will have to be very spot on because teams will come better prepared because they know this is their weakness.
Just another thing that I want to add over here is that this team, we could see that this team would prefer to chase. We might see other teams wanting to win the toss and bat first, because they might think that second innings the pitch might get slower and they may not be able to chase those total par totals or above par totals. But this team, given their batting depth and batting quality, they could more or less opt to chase many times. And that point, another point is that I think what worked in Australia for them was that the longish boundaries helped their bowlers get away and allowed them a bigger margin of error. In India, we don't have as big boundaries. So if it is not Sam Curran's day, or if it is not Moeen Ali's day, they could really travel.
Okay, I love how he said travel with both his punchlines. It's brilliant. So, Paj, give me a prediction then for England. Will they defend their World Cup, or is that too ambitious, even as good as their squad looks? Or what are you thinking? Prediction and MVP, please.
Defend, I'm not sure. They'll need someone to do the role which Liam Plunkett did for them last time around. I'm not sure who's going to be that. Ideally, you'd want Mark Wood and Adil Rashid to combine together, but there are too many ifs and buts over there. So they should reach the semis, given how their fixtures are. Would they defend or not is difficult to say. The venues, whichever they play at, whether it's Kolkata or Mumbai in the semis, or then Ahmedabad in the final, again should help them. MVP, uh, I'm I'm looking at two players who I really think can make or break their tournament. Uh, it could be Joe Root or it could be Liam Livingston, because I've been harping on this for quite right, whenever we have talked about any team, that batting at 5, 6, 7 is important. I feel this tournament could be that tournament where Livingston can take that next step. We know he has the game against pace. We know he's improving against spin, but sometimes, as we have seen in the IPL and otherwise, he doesn't really give himself time. He's too eager to take the attack to the opposition, and ends up attacking his negative matchup. If he can avoid that temptation, the pitches are going to be good enough, and there is going to be enough run scoring opportunity for him to then then attack those bowlers. And he had one very good innings versus New Zealand. I'm forgetting how many he scored, but it was a good innings. So I'm looking at Livingston or Root, one of those two, to also chip in with the ball. So one of them. Difficult to pick who it can be, but I feel one of them doing well would really help England.
Okay, Root, Livingston, top four. Akshay, how much do you echo those thoughts? Because even Cricket Tashan and all the other guys in the chat are hinting at top four for England. You can't put it past them, but can you?
In terms of making it to the semis, yeah, they ideally should. But will they be able to defend their title? I'm not sure of that. I mean, like we've discussed before, knockout games mein kuch bhi ho sakta hai. So I'll just say they'll have a top four finish. And MVP, yeah, Livingston, very good shout. Even I personally think he's someone who will be very key. But I'm going for Bairstow, simply because Livingston mentioned who I, for the sake, and also because up top, David Malan, we've already spoken about him and what he does and what he brings to this top order. But Bairstow will hold key in ensuring that the power play doesn't go, sort of without any impact. So ensuring 10 overs, they consistently score above 55, 60, 70, it'll be on Bairstow. And that's where I really feel, given that he didn't even play this IPL. Yeah, he didn't play this IPL, so it's been a while since he's also played in India. So I'm very keen to see how he goes about it. But I'm expecting him to come good. He has a good idea of what to expect in India. He's a fantastic, solid batter. And when the ball's due, when it's still hard, he can definitely give it a good back.
So Bairstow and semi-final heartbreak is what I could go.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
Okay, Nix, what about you? Will you be bold? Because I know I'm pretty much guessing it's India South Africa for you as a final, but will England make the other semis?
Yeah, I think they should, depend given the conditions that they're going to play most of their games in, and it should still help cover up the bowling bit. So top four finish, yes. If at all they miss out, it'll probably be due to the bowling only, and I don't think due to the batting. So top four finish, and I think Root already mentioned. Then my MVP is no other than Sam Curran, because I feel he's someone who might have to be forced into be bowling at the end. So then that could really make him a top and end bowler. and something that he worked when this was the T20 World Cup that they were part of, that 22-1. And I think he's also someone who can make use of the boundaries, and he's a smart guy in terms of with the bat. So I'm expecting him to be that fulcrum that gets them those above par scores. Or if they don't get the above par score, I'm expecting him to do the job with the ball. Because even if it slows down, I feel Sam has enough variety in his bowling to take care of it. So Sam Curran it is for me, because again Joe Root is already taken.
I have a question to all three of you. Do you think at any point of time Moeen Ali could get dropped?
But for who? Who do you drop him for? That is the only, because they don't have
Maybe
anybody
if
else
they
to back.
maybe if they have to strengthen the bowling, they bring in another pacer.
David
I
Delhi
I,
in
I think
Dharamshala, maybe.
I think batting wise they will remain sorted. But if they feel that Moeen's not pulling his weight through the ball, do you think he could get dropped for a pacer?
Yeah, but then as Akshay said, it has to be in conditions where you feel maybe in Ahmedabad, maybe there where you want to play another pacer and not play Moin. But if you don't do that, I think the batting there has to be very, very good. And see, the thing with England is they want to play hard, and they want to play hard because they have that assurance at the back end. So maybe it may not happen earlier in the tournament, but as you say, if they go in deep and they feel that no, Moeen is not pulling through with both bat and ball, then depending on conditions, they could go down that extra pacer route. But then the pressure in that scenario, in my opinion, goes to Stokes, because if he's not getting the runs, then there is a problem that you can't leave out an extra batting option at the bottom. So while Chris Vokes, everybody can hold a bat and hit a few, but if conditions are getting tougher, then you will need whatever batting also that you can. So very keen to see. It's I don't think I'll not rule it out, but it feels difficult. If conditions are getting tougher, then you expect ball to also help Moeen Ali a bit, Moeen Ali, and we
Yeah.
know India's love to Moeen Ali, and maybe other teams will also gift him some wickets.
Because often when you just see his stats stand alone, you feel that he's not doing enough. But at the same time, like we have always discussed, when it comes to batting depth, his presence just allows the batters who are batting ahead of him to have that assurance कि at least collapse नहीं होगा, या you won't have everyone just fall like a pack of cards, and everyone loves another extra bowling option, to
Yeah.
the extent that we were ready to draft Tilak
Hmm.
Varma in the squad for that. So there's that factor too.
I mean, I stand on the Monali thing as simple as he's England's best spin bowling all rounder. Surely, I know you have Livingston and Root there, but you just need a guy like Monali. Of course, also a few things you guys said with bat, and plus he's just experienced. You need someone like
Yeah.
that in the critical situations as well. So let's finish up with England in terms of my prediction. Then I think they are going to make the semis, and I think it's going to be Ben Stokes, guys. I know I'm going for the obvious, but I genuinely feel there's something about tournaments and this man. He did it in that World T20 final. He's done it before in critical high pressure games, and I think he'll come to the fore again. We saw it last time around. I don't know why RG fans are
And he
funny.
has a weird juju.
He has a weird juju. I'm not saying Ben Stokes because Virat Kohli is my favorite cricketer, and Virat's favorite cricketer right now is Ben Stokes. I'm just saying Ben Stokes because
No, no,
Ben.
we weren't getting to that. Only you
We
got to
know
it.
the dots. We know the entire line. There is no need to connect anything here.
But Baba Rav Apte says, yeah, I would drop Stokes too. Oh my god, how blasphemic is that? That we'll leave it on
Actually,
that. Go on.
just this one, maybe everybody can answer in like 1 minute if they can. What do you actually honestly make of a guy coming out of retirement to play an ODI World Cup?
I think it's passion.
This
I
was
think
the
James Bond in disguise.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
this was the most obvious coming back from retirement as there could have ever been. You could see it coming the day he announced that retirement, and see if
But
it
then
was
what?
some
What about the process? What about
yeah,
the
that's
process?
what I'm coming to.
Uh,
If it was some other team, or if it weren't the defending champions, this would have met with a lot of criticism. Just because you've had success previously, they are the current holders of the T20 World Cup and the ODI World Cup. A lot of questionable things will get passed, like, oh, this is the mentality and everything, etc., etc. And we've seen that even with how baseball has played out on occasions. So that's the power of narrative, and it's very hard to uh, beat the English media or the English cricketing fraternity when it comes to narratives. I don't think anyone can beat them when it comes to forming a narrative. Good, bad is another thing, but they really get behind a narrative if they want to. So
Yes.
that's
I
where
just
I
wanted
stand.
I just wanted to get a clip out because I think it's a good one. So yeah.
All right, we'll definitely get that
कंट्रोवर्शियल
out.
कंट्रोवर्शियल चीजें बोलने के लिए एक ही आदमी को आगे करते हैं सब